It's a Friday, which means that we have to start the show off appropriately, one way and one way only.
Come on, man. Go for it, dude.
It's Friday. Friday. Day.
SDH AM, John here, you there. Thanks for dropping by as you always do. And it is a packed show. It is packed, it is jammed, and we mean that in a good way. And so's my hair. Probably should wear a hat now. Things are so out of control. You know, you get headset hair, and then the headset wants to kind of work the headset hair that you have and go in a bunch of different directions. And so that's kind of the battle that I'm facing. And yes, we were sporting our friends from Cabo Verde this morning. All right, here's the rundown. At 10 o'clock, Phillip Goodrum is going to drop by. We talked with him yesterday. He's at camp. So he's at winter camp. We get into that. It's a really in-depth discussion about where Phillip Goodrum is right now. Phillip has moved in one location in Kentucky from the other. The Bluegrass Derby now has someone who will be a part of both sides. Phillip Goodrum was at Racing Louisville last year, 17 goals. Now he's at Lexington SC, and he's going to be a part of that craziness that they've had in the offseason. They have spent a lot of money bringing in a lot of folks. It's an experienced roster. Phillip Goodrum is now a part of it. We catch up with him at 10 o'clock. 9:30 is our first visit in 2026 from our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring and Michael Parkhurst, and we get to find out what the offseason has been like for Parky and for Greg, other than globetrotting, and maybe they got the pony for Christmas that they were looking for under the tree. Coming up in just a sec, it's the head boys coach at Valdosta High, gocats.org. It is Cody Case, and it's a great story. It's a lot of great detail. And Cody, I think, officially gets to start our soccer coverage for high schools. We get you ready for the 26th season and the Creek Cup coming up in about a month. And that's going to be probably the big shebang that starts everything off. We do have scheduling planned ahead of that, but match before that, Creek Cup that second weekend in February. But we're going to start our high school coverage with kind of a waving of the flags and a bolo for everybody in South Georgia with Cody Case coming up in just a sec. Okay, other stuff we've got to get into today. We've got to preview your weekend. Very, very busy with Premier League clubs. They're playing FA if the weather cooperates. We've already had our first cancellation. We'll go over the FA Cup juice boxes coming up in a bit. We've got AFCON quarterfinals start today. We got quarterfinals today, quarterfinals tomorrow. We'll get your previews in, get your juice boxes in for that. Also, news in Major League Soccer. Messi and friends continue to get more friends. That happened very, very early this morning. Nothing like getting an email at 8 o'clock local time. So it meant that you got an email from 5 o'clock in Portland, Oregon. And so there's news out of Portland that we talked about with Nico Moreno yesterday. If you missed that interview, it's up on the video side of things. It's also on the audio side of things, however you download and listen to us. Yesterday, it was a goalless draw, Liverpool, an Arsenal, Gabriel Martinelli. We got to get into that. Probably getting into that with Parky at 9:30. Signing for Manchester City, Semenyo is in the barn. And another signing that might happen involves our friend Thiago Almada. And so now, initially it was Gremio. Then you had 4 other teams that were interested. And now Cesar Luis Merlo has someone that might be a front runner in all of that. So all of that this morning. But first, we go down to Valdosta. We catch up with our friend Cody Case, the boys head coach of your Valdosta Wildcats. Good morning. Do you need a note to get out of class, Cody?
No, this is actually my planning period. So we are good to go for the next 30 minutes or so.
Okay, we'll keep you to the bottom of the hour. And I wanted to, there's a lot of different things that I wanted to get into with you. And first thing is, what attracted you, as you officially start our high school coverage here for 26, what attracted you to the gig down at Valdosta?
Well, on May the 5th, I was in Tryon, Georgia, coaching a quarterfinal girls playoff match while the assistant coach at Claxton High School. And so on Wednesday, May the 7th, it popped up, Valdosta High School is looking for head soccer coaches, and, you see the V and you want to go to the V.
What has it been like for you in the 6-7 months since you've taken over down there at a powerhouse in a lot of different sports that has a fantastic pedigree? What's it been like for you to jump into the highest classification down there in Region 1?
Honestly, it's been incredible. My parents have been great. My players from day one, when can we practice? When can we practice? I have a lot of players who may not have had like a lot of success on the scoreboard, but they're looking for something. They were looking for something to buy into, to make soccer fun for them. And it's been great. Down at the middle school level last year, they only had 31 tryout. We had 61 this year. We ended the season with last year they ended the season with about 24 total players. I have 42 who have been working with us for the past couple months, preconditioning and whatnot. And so, like I said, we went to all the schools. We've been recruiting the hallways. We've been doing all the things that you should be doing to build the depth, the numbers. We have enough number. We have a freshman team for the first time ever this year. And so, like I said, we've been doing the hard work, and even before the season has started, we've been seeing some rewards for that.
So when you look at South Georgia soccer, I know that we love all of our children equally here in the state of Georgia over at SDH. It is, we know what's going on in single A. We know what's going on. Fitzgerald's a growing program. Atkinson County's made a lot of inroads in Pearson, making deep runs. And, Region 1 6A, a lot of folks gravitate to the American spelling of it, FOOTBALL. What about FUTBOL? Is it as knockdown, drag out in Region 1 from what you've been able to gather, even though you haven't hit the pitch yet? Is it still that same kind of competition?
So what I could tell you is that I personally believe that we are a 16 region currently. We lose tipped in the next realignment, but as it currently stands, from top to bottom, this may be the most balanced region in the entire state. Even with Valdosta's record last year, they took Camden 0-0 at halftime. Tift County, who was the 5th seed, only lost to Colquitt, I think, by 2 goals last year. Everybody, there's not a whole lot of just, there's not that one team that's just, we can scratch that off and we're going to go beat them 8-0, 9-0, 10-0. On any given day in this region, anybody can beat anybody.
And I know that we've been paying attention to Richmond Hill, who has been growing their program over the last handful of years. I know that one of the things that you have to tackle south of the Nat line, and what we refer to that is basically you take that line of I-16 and you just kind of move from one end of the state to the other. It stops in Macon. You go south of the Nat line, and geography and 55 cents a mile come into a lot of the challenges that are associated with the sport and with the non-revenue sports across the board. When you look at these challenges in the smaller classifications, you know what it means to hit the road. Region 1 6A, you got to hit the road, because you could be going from where you are currently to Richmond Hill, and that is a pack of lunch, pack of dinner, a midnight snack, a hard hat, and maybe a cot or a sleeping bag to get stuff done. When you look at this region being as balanced as it is, being as geographically challenged as it is, I think it speaks to the talent that's there in that particular area in South Georgia, that it is as balanced as it is.
And, we are the only region outside of Metro Atlanta. We're the only 6 schools outside of Metro Atlanta, and so it's funny just seeing when teams are, we have to go an hour away for a non-region game. I'm like, hey, we're going 4 hours for a region game. Yay, us.
When you look at expectations, you mentioned pounding the halls, and I know that this happens for a lot of coaches in a lot of sports. What has the response been like outside the school as you've been pounding the hallways, trying to get kids in, developing this freshman side? What's it been like for you to be out there in the community and getting response back? What's the response been back in the last 6 months?
Again, it's been great. It kind of, I guess, is surprising if you've looked at, how the program has been the last few years, that, you wouldn't think that this would be a place that, cared or was invested. We've had, been talking to our student section about, the Dupsters, getting them out to games, having, maybe the drumline come and play at a game, and just trying to get people, trying to get them interested in something that they're already interested in, but give them a reason to buy in, a reason to believe that, hey, this is something good for this city, which, is a very soccer heavy area, between us, Lowndes, Colquitt, and Tift, that's an incredible amount of just soccer interest, just not even in the school, but just as a whole. This is a soccer hungry area, and so it's our job to get out there and give them something to eat.
And one of those things that you've got the opportunity to do is coming up tomorrow, and I'm hoping that the weather cooperates, or at least if the weather doesn't cooperate, there's a lot of other things that you can do. United Soccer Coaches is pairing with you and have you as a hub for a really cool event tomorrow. What's going on?
So basically, we're going to host what I believe may be one of the first soccer coaches clinics in South Georgia. It's for sure the only soccer coaches clinic that is was created and made for high school coaches. A lot of clinics that you go to, it's, hey, here's a drill that Barca is doing. Here's a drill that Arnslot is doing at Liverpool. Here's a drill that that they're doing at Bayern Munich. And then, all right, we'll go club coaches and go run the drill that the pros run. But a lot of those, they don't take into account the on the ground realities of what it's like to coach high school. You have to recruit, you have to worry about grades, you have to fundraise for meals, you have to worry about bus travel and getting a bus there. You have to worry about kids missing practice because they're in band or track or other activities. Especially at the single A where I have a lot of experience at, you may have a coach there who he's probably primarily a football coach, but he does, soccer on the side. And so, maybe that soccer education really isn't there. And so this is something to give the high school coaches in this area something to bite into to increase their own, soccer experience and, to improve their own program.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, feedback and how stacked are you? What's the feedback been like getting into this particular event on the weekend?
Well, this is our first year, and so hopefully this will become an annual thing. We had great initial response, from coaches. Oh, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that. Getting emails, so tell us about that. And so, it's been very exciting to see the positive reaction to this. To kind of vindicate that feeling of, hey, there is something for soccer here in South Georgia.
Yeah, Cody Case, boys head coach at Valdosta, hanging out with us here, officially kicking off our high school coverage here in 26 on the SDH network, hanging out on SDH AM. And do you have, and I ask this, because I know that football coaches, FOOT, the American football coaches, they have their own, they've got their own Rolodexes and speed dials and everything. And it's like, okay, I'm playing so-and-so. I want to talk to this coach. I'm playing so-and-so. I want feedback here. Do you and your fellow FUTBOL coaches, do you have your own kind of WhatsApp group, text chain, speed dial things where you guys can compare notes, especially in areas where you're having to really work to get programs off the ground and get them going?
Absolutely. Luckily we just came in and, honestly, it's shooting emails. Hey, coach, can you send me your phone number? I got a question. And, over the past 6-7 months, I've created, that list and that rapport and camaraderie with a bunch of coaches, that I had never even heard of before I got here. I'm not from the Valdosta area. My first time in Valdosta was for my interview back in May. And so, it has been very easy. The coaching down here, everybody has, hey, I have a question. Can you help out? Even, your region rivals, they're willing to help out and give you advice, or, hey, is that within the rules, or, or do you need any help with this, or we'd love to help out. And so we've had a great rapport with each other since I've been here.
Wave your hands frantically to
oh yeah, there we go. It's
the motion.
Yeah,
nothing like you. Well, see, because Cody has been sitting there diligently for about 25 minutes. I think that 25 or 30 minutes is the run for the motion detector and everything. I mean, I could still see you. It's just that when the lights went out, I wanted to see what you were doing. Your history in the sport. Let me go back into the high school ideas.
Mhm.
You go back to Hall County. You know what rivalries are like from your time as an East Hall Viking, right?
Yeah, so my first coaching job as a varsity soccer coach was the goalkeeper coach at East Hall High School in 2016. And so, it was just one of those in 2016, we had Carlos Castrone, we had Leo Toledo just banging in 79 goals that year. We make a run to the state finals and, you're my first year coach and you're like, this is easy, you know? And so, I have experience, having those heavyweight knockout fights with Johnson and Greater Atlanta Christian, and so I'm very familiar with, how soccer looks in other places of the state.
Yeah, and so you know what it means. So when anybody wants to transfer that kind of an idea to Region 16A,
Mhm.
where you got Wintersville coming.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like Madonna, Tiger, Jack, Wintersville. It's that same kind of a thing. You know, that this is a rivalry that splits that town in half. The Region 16A, it is Valdosta and Moultrie. It is Wintersville. It is, I mean, you mentioned Tift as a part of that. And I would imagine you're probably going to try and keep them as a non-region opponent when it comes to schedules in the future, just because of what it means going up and down 75. So you're no stranger to rivalries. I would imagine that your level of comfortability to create a word, you're ready for these kinds of challenges coming up this season.
Oh, absolutely. No matter where you've been, everybody has those local rivalries. You have East Hall Johnson, you have Claxton Metter, you have Armurchie Model, Um, and so again, I don't think that I was, I guess we'll call it, ready for the intensity of, oh yeah, hey, Valdosta Lounge, it's a rivalry, I've heard of it, no big deal. And then you get here and the first thing you talk to somebody, it's, hey coach, what are we gonna win Wintersville this year? I'm like, I've never and so no, like even in soccer, in flag football, in outside of football, in softball, in volleyball,
FBLA, man, it doesn't matter.
no, like Wintersville is Wintersville. It doesn't matter the sport. It doesn't matter the season. This is the greatest rivalry in high school athletics. In any sport, it doesn't matter. You want to win Wintersville.
What's your biggest challenge right now, you think?
Probably on the field. We are, numbers were low coming out of last year. We haven't, the last few years, this program hasn't won a lot of games. And so it's basically getting out there, recruiting people and telling people, hey, this is going to be different. This works. We've had a lot of success doing these kinds of things at other places. And so right now it's getting people to buy into the vision to before the wins start appearing.
I mean, and obviously that's a part of this whole thing. It's like, understand, we get it. We know what we've got to do to build. We know we're in a tough region. We know about these rivalries. We know what it means to drive 50 minutes to go play in the hog pen. We know what it means to have something. Now you play at Bazemore Hyder, right?
We do currently, yes, sir.
There you go. See, now Wintersville at Bazemore Hyder. That's good. All right. So let me say the schedule I've got February 24th. Is that right?
That is our fourth game of the season. We have Wintersville at the Bays.
Fourth game of the season, and you got, wow, because it's Claxton and Macon County are on the road. Then you got Valwood and Lowndes. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then Camden County after that. And so, like I said, Claxton playoff team, Macon County boys. I think they were a playoff team. Valwood playoff team, Lowndes playoff team, Camden playoff team. Like, again, welcome to the big time, coach.
Yeah, I mean, really. I want to ask this as a part of the conversation. Yes, proper hydration. That's good. For folks that want to drop in tomorrow, break this down as to when, the where, the how do they become a part of this thing tomorrow?
So basically they can reach out to either me or the head of the United Soccer Coaches, David Simeone. And so we're hosting it at Valdosta High School. It's an all-day event. The first half of the day is in the morning. It's kind of board work, talking a lot of program stuff, and then in the afternoon we're bringing our players are coming out and they're going to do on the field sessions. And so I said it's a 9 to 5 all-day event tomorrow.
Okay, so then let me ask you this: What are you up to the early part of next week? Same kind of deal, schedule-wise?
Early part of next week, yeah, we're still in a preconditioning mode. We can't touch a ball till January 19th, and so
And so
we're in. So
you're
we're in preconditioning, getting in game shape, and tryouts. We're having our tryouts this coming Thursday.
okay. So then let me ask you this: leading into tryouts, I want to have you come back because I want to ask about this weekend, and I want to get kind of a review of it. And if there's any other coaches that were there that that you might want to spread the word, and if we have kind of like a conference call kind of a thing, like if we have just like a round table breaking down whether it's issues or successes or concerns or anything like that, if we did that in this first half hour early next week, would that be cool? Do I need to get you a note to Shelton to sit there and go, I need to borrow Cody. I need to borrow Cody again for first period early next week. Is that cool?
No, I think that my athletic director, Coach Mitchell, would be fine with that. It's good for the Cats. It's good for everybody.
Okay, because I wanted to, what I'd like to do is I want to get a review of this, and I'd like to get some of the coaches that were in this with you, and just kind of have everybody have some feedback. 2 or 3 other coaches and you, just to kind of go back and forth on this and find out, okay, what questions we still have on the table. How do we tackle these kinds of things? Literally, if we turned it into like literally almost like a chat session, basically just kind of chewing the fat. I'm not going to be eating breakfast. You guys can if you want and have your morning coffee. But like in this time period, is that cool early part of next week if we did this again to kind of revisit what happens tomorrow?
Yeah, no problem. We'd love to talk all about it.
Okay, so then do this for me. Shoot me the best way to get. I know your email, but go ahead and just shoot me like another email real quick during the show. So before I sign off today, I can give them your email and then the United Soccer Coaches email for anybody that wants to dive in at the last minute, and we'll post it and we'll blow it up and get everything squared away there. What else do folks need to know before we get you out of here?
Just
go Cats.
Yeah, honestly, a lot like the Cats of the future are not the Cats of the past, and
right.
We're here to we're here to say Valdosta won 3 of 4 region championships not too long ago, and so this is not a program that's struggling, that we're trying to build something out of the mud. We're trying to bring it we're trying to bring it back to where the expectations are for any sport at Valdosta High School.
Good deal. So you have your homework from me. I have my homework from you. I hope this thing does really well this weekend, and then this way early next week I'll get your feedback on it with another couple of coaches. And like I said, we'll have like a South Georgia rap session about challenges and all this kind of stuff. So we'll continue to educate the audience about everything and get everybody ready for the high school season. Cody, thank you for reaching out first and foremost. It was great to catch up with another South Georgia coach as we get ready for our high school season. Go to class, sir. Like I said, thanks for dropping by. We'll catch up with you early next week. We'll figure out the day and the time and all that kind of stuff, but it'll be before tryouts on Thursday, and we'll knock it out of the park. I can't thank you enough for letting us know about this. Appreciate your time, and go to class with your coffee, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. Go Cats.
See, now Cody's got it down. Cody's like, yeah, that's how you wrap up every interview. Every interview there at Valdosta, that is how you finish. Literally, it is like every other, it's like all the coaches, they've learned. It's like you walk in the door, you finish an interview, it's go Cats. That is literally that's how you do these things. Cody's got that down. So that's cool. Okay, so the deal is, if you know a coach in South Georgia that is interested, Cody's going to shoot me the details on this, and then we'll give you Cody's email and the United Soccer Coach's email with the Coach Simeon. Before we go today, we'll post it in the Twitch pitch, and like I said, we'll blow it up there as well. But yeah, for any coach that wants to drop by, be a part of this thing, where it's behind the scenes stuff, it's all the off the field, and then they do on the field, weather permitting. I sit there and we look at the heavens and sit there and go, I know what it means this time of year, especially when you're battling record high temperatures. That's crazy. So we'll get feedback on this. And then we'll set up a time early next week in this batting leadoff spot. It's probably going to be Wednesday, because if KCD is on Tuesday and Abe is on Monday. So Cody's still in the green room. Wednesday, same time period. So we'll bat leadoff on Wednesday, and we'll discuss it there. So that way it is locked in that time slot. So batting leadoff Wednesday, that's your homework assignment, Cody. So we'll do that there. All right. So very, very cool. And look, we've always believed, and we always do believe, rising tide lifts all boats. And to have events like this, the first ever kind of a clinic information session, coffee clatch, breakfast sharing, whatever. You get to share notes with other coaches. You get to build up everybody else. You get to build yourself up, all the information, all the things. All you get to do that in one place tomorrow in Valdosta. Very, very cool stuff. Okay. It is 9:30. Well, it's technically 9:31. And for the first time, I wish I had a drum roll or something, or like a fanfare, like trumpets or things. And we do believe in proper hydration, because I was taking a peek at this gentleman before he was getting ready for us here. So we welcome back for the first time in 2026, Michael Parkhurst. How you doing?
Happy New Year, Mr. Nelson.
That's my father. I'm just John. You know that. First and foremost, Happy New Year, sir.
Thank you.
What was Christmas and the holidays like? Did you get the pony that you asked for Christmas? Was it under the tree on New Year's Day?
Well, thankfully, nothing live was under the tree. But yes, we had a very nice holiday. It was a really well time spent away from school. Took some time away from work, and yeah, we enjoyed it. Kids had 2 full weeks off, and it was a long time, but it was a nice time. We really enjoyed it.
All right. So what did you get for Christmas, sir?
What did I get for Christmas? I, John, am always the one to suggest to the wife, hey, let's just not do presents.
How'd that go?
Some years, John, it goes over better than others. This year it went over well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, we obviously are in a position where if things throughout the year, we need it, we get it. And, we don't really live a crazy lifestyle anyway. So I don't even know I got some golf balls.
But you properly lost probably 8 days later?
No, I haven't played. If I did play, I would have lost them, John, but nothing crazy. Yeah, some alcohol and some golf balls. I mean, that's a good Christmas.
Well, I was going to say, especially if you were to be the kind of individual that blends those two activities.
I'm not usually. Okay,
because I'm not either. And let's see, for me, New Year's Day 1990 actually. So it's one of those things that it's like, y'all can have that. Oh, this is for me. No, that's for you. I can't go there. You mentioned turning off. How hard is it for a professional athlete to turn off in gap time? When it's like, okay, it's the holidays. I know that, we got family time, season's over, that kind of stuff. How hard is it to hit that light switch and just kind of go, I can shut down for a bit?
Yeah. And it's different when you're a professional athlete. I think that there's levels of turning it off. I don't think that, like right now where I am in life, I can. Actually, I don't know if I can, because I still took Rhode Island calls over the break as we're figuring things out with the roster. But
questions on that too, but we'll get there.
Yeah. But, I think that athletes, they live a different lifestyle, and you have to in order to have success. And so you can't completely turn off. And I mean that meaning you still need to run during the off season. You still need to watch what you intake, right?
Moderation.
Yeah, moderation, exactly. And so, you dim it, and you enjoy that. And for most athletes, that's dimming it is similar to us turning it off, because they're at such a high level throughout 11 months of the season that when you do get a time to dim it, it does feel nice. And going for a run, going to work out, that's not even really considered really getting after it. That's the bare minimum.
Yeah, but then let me ask you this: once you hit the dimmer switch, how difficult is it to go back and make sure that thing is already up to 11 once again? How hard is it? It's like, man, I really like this. I like not doing A, B, C, D, and E. It's just like, how hard is it to sit there and go 100% after a gap time?
It shouldn't be too tough.
Okay.
That's the benefit of hitting the dimmer, is that you get that time away, and that time away should increase the love for the game and say, hey, man, I miss being out there. I miss doing those stuff. I can't wait to get back at it. And if it's not, that's a problem. And either you're in the wrong place, or you need to do something to change the mind frame, getting back into things, or you need to make some lifestyle changes or something. Because after you dim or take a break, you should be excited to get back out there. And that doesn't mean, hey, the first day, am I excited to wake up at 6 a.m. and get going? No, okay, I get it, right? But there should be some excitement to get back out there, get working, and getting ready for the next season.
So then, with your mentee age, do you get to impress upon them the idea of hitting that dimmer switch? Because I would imagine, when you're 16, 17, 18, 12, all the way up, it's got to be go, 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 go because of internal pressure, whether it's, I've got to be better than this guy. That means I've got to be out there. I've got to be running at 4:30 in the morning. I've got to run 30 miles before 6 a.m. Does that register? Do these conversations register, especially with all the internal and peer pressure and parental pressure and all those kinds of things with mentees these days?
Yeah, for sure. And I just think that there's so many opportunities out there for kids that sometimes it's tough to shut off. Even if the team isn't having outdoor practices, there's indoor trainings, there's optional stuff, there's pickup things, right? There's a lot of opportunities to continue to play. But yeah, that's one of the things Greg and I always encourage. I take time away, get away from it a little bit, go play basketball, go swimming, go be a kid, have fun, get away from the game a little bit. And I think most of them do that. I do think that they take a little bit of a break and get away from it, which is nice, and it's needed. Because they're not at that high level yet of being paid to play and having to do that stuff. So they have to take advantage of not being at that level and getting to turn off instead of dim. I think they can turn off for a little bit, and it's they're younger. They can regain that fitness quicker, right? And they can get back on the saddle a lot quicker than us old guys.
Yeah. Well, how hard is it to be a kid though these days? I mean, as a dad, I think you could look at it from that perspective. How hard is it to be a kid who's in athletics? But how hard is it to be a kid when you're attached to athletics the way that a lot of these athletes that you mentor are?
Well, my son would tell you that it's very tough, John. I mean, I ask him to vacuum at least once a week. He has to get the mail out of the mailbox all the way down at the bottom of the driveway that he walks past from school. So life is tough as a kid, John.
Yes.
It's not easy.
Well, and I look, I remember, and I imagine you were this way. It's like, it was so tough that you would play outside until the sun went down. And then the only time that you would go inside would be when parental unit is sticking their head out the front door and calling your name. And then you keep playing under the street lights. And then they'd add a name. It's like, it would be like first name, last name. It'd be first name, first name, dinner's ready. Then after a couple of minutes, poke your head back out the door. First name, last name, dinner's ready, come inside. And then on the third one, when they go full name, then it's time to go inside because there's no other names that they can talk about, and it would be just louder at that point. It's like, John Freeman Nelson, get in this house right now.
Mm-hmm.
The increased element of importance over time.
Now, John.
Yes.
Now
exactly.
it is. I'll send a text to my son who's upstairs in the house because I've yelled 3 times and I've gotten no response. And so I'm going to text him because I know he'll see that and get his butt off electronics with buddies and come
downstairs now.
Exactly. To the dinner that he helped none of.
Yes. So at least there's consistency is what you're saying. The idea of spending all that time trying to get out to the mailbox and do all these kinds of things and make sure that, look, the boss here knows that she doesn't want me anywhere near the kitchen. Look, Jason, Jarrett, Nick, and Maddie all know that they don't need me near a kitchen ever. They know this going in. Like literally, they come up with like human shield. They just block the kitchen door. Any opportunity that's like, hey, I'll cook. No, you won't. Because they don't want, like food poisoning or anything. So trust me, I know about but I understand the idea of being involved in family, but I also know the value of being out of the way and making sure that it's edible. That I definitely understand.
Very true.
When you look at 25 for Beyond Goals, what sticks in your mind about what you and Greg were able to accomplish in 25?
I think there are a few big things. We got the college programming up and running. So we started that. We hired Zara. We started to do the video analysis on a broader scale, like on a monthly basis. Actually, it was probably bi-monthly basis. So those were 3 big things that we started last year or did last year that I think are big steps and that we're going to continue obviously this year. Yeah, we had, I think 25% growth for the business, which is great.
There you go.
Yeah, so we're moving and grooving. We've got Zara lined up to go down to Inner Atlanta next week, speak with all the top level of the girls teams down there. Greg will join her there for that. So that's exciting. She's on her way down to Orlando for preseason. So it works out perfectly.
Yes, the purple team as they're getting ready for everything this season there. What's it like having Zara on board? Because I know it was something that you and Greg had discussed for quite some time as to add that third leg of the tripod, and it ends up being Zara. Let me go back to what was it that set her apart from everyone else that you were thinking about in that particular position? What set her apart?
Her personality. She, while she was in school, had worked with some youth soccer teams and just likes being around kids, enjoys speaking with them. And that's not for everybody. It can be challenging to speak to kids, and just be good with them and relate to them. It takes a certain person and a personality sometimes, especially for young adults. So that was a very attractive trait of hers. The fact that she had recently gone through the college experience is really beneficial as well. It's new and fresh in her mind as far as that experience, the recruitment period, the life on campus, the adjustments, all those things. We've identified that, obviously in girls soccer, that is the pathway still. And I know that the draft is gone and now there's some younger females going pro, but still in general, the pathway is more towards college than anything else. And so having her on board with that experience recently is important. And, the fact that she still is a pro and just starting off that career in a blossoming league like NWSL, that's beneficial too. I think that it turns some eyeballs when she talks.
Have you and Greg been able to learn anything from her? I know that she's learning from you guys about what it's like to be a mentor in these situations, but how much of a two-way street has that been in the short time that she's been with you?
Yeah, we have. She's impressed us with some of the things that she talks to mentees about. I'll give one example. She did an exercise with one of her mentees about values and what values were important to her and what values are important to the mentee. And so they wrote down 15 values that were important to them. And then they cut it down to 7, and then they cut it down to 3. And so it really had to hone them into, hey, what's most important to you? Why? How does that help you, right? How do we live by those values? How do we bring those on a daily basis type thing? So now that's something that Greg and I have both instituted into some of our mentoring sessions. So yeah, small example of, just different experiences and different viewpoints that people have that, you can always adapt and grow.
You mentioned video analysis, and I know that where with younger individuals, they like to see things. They like the interactive idea of understanding something, and considering how there are individuals in the Parkhurst household that are upstairs and they play games and probably wear headphones to where they're just locked into that kind of stuff. Having that visual addition to what's going on there at Beyond Goals, what was it like for you and for Greg to figure out, okay, here's what we need to do? It's like videos out there, yes, but what do we need to specifically focus on? What was it like to add that dynamic in 25?
Yeah, it was fun. It was more, the toughest part always when you have this broad spectrum is how do you make it simple enough for the younger players and more less advanced players to understand, and yet also have those tips for some of the older players that are a little bit more advanced. Like how do you make sure that everyone is getting something out of it and you're not excluding anybody, whether on one end or the other. So that's always the biggest challenge. I mean, I think finding the clips, understanding what we want to show that's not the tough part. I think this year will be a little bit tougher now that we've already done it once, to find new, how do we advance it? How do we separate it from last year? So we're starting off the year next week, I think, maybe, with a defensive third. So instead of doing a exact position, we're kind of analyzing the defensive third, how we play in that area of the field. Where do we take risks? Where don't we? On the offensive side, defensive side, like looking at the back line in general as far as their movement and how they combine with the defensive mids and those types of things. So we're going to start off with thirds and then get into individual positions later on in the year. So yeah, we'll adapt it.
You got zones to look at, you've got lines to look at, and formations being the loose construct that they are. It's like, yeah, it might look like this, but then the whistle blows, it's all and then you get it all out and figured out. I mean, it's I would imagine that trying to find the ideas is easy, but then what you've got to do, what you and Greg and Zara have to do, is break it down to where you're talking with someone, and you don't go in with the notion that they know where you're coming from immediately. You've got to kind of dial it back and take everyone along for this ride, as opposed to assume that, okay, yeah, you know this and you know this, and if I was just to say something, then that would be that you're going to understand where I'm coming from, as opposed to just, all right, we'll dial it back and we'll sit there and we'll take it from absolute A and go A, B, C, D, E. I imagine that would be a bit of an adjustment for you and Greg as well when you started.
Totally. And that's why it helps that we've got the marketing team with us, because sometimes they will be like, hey, have you thought about talking about this? And sometimes it's really simple. And I'm like, no, actually, I haven't. Right. Because we think it's obvious, and it's not obvious to everybody. And so, I think it's nice having people that aren't at a high level sometimes within the group, to make sure that we're seeing everything and talking about everything that we can to help players as much as possible.
And when you look back at the questions that were asked of you and Greg and Zara in 25, was there a group of questions or a particular topic that they kept coming back to, meaning all of the mentees on the whole? Was there one or a couple of ideas that kept circling back? Was there a commonality that you guys had to continue to address more often than not last year?
That's a good question. I think that a couple of the top ones for me were, confidence is always the biggest one. Usually it's, how do I get my confidence back? What can I do to improve my confidence? Sometimes, and along those lines is, how do I play better in bigger games, right? How do I translate practice? How do I become a game player instead of just a practice player, basically?
Yeah.
In other words. And then for the older kids, it's more questions about what do I need to do in preparation to try and go to college. So those were the main things that I saw repeatedly, and so for sure we'll have a little bit more of a focus on some of those things this year.
So how do you get when you and Greg and Zara are talking to these players, how do you tell them to get their groove back? Because I mean, there's a lot of folks that would sit there, and if the mojo's gone, they're like, they could be trying everything short of going to a fortune teller, trying to figure out how to get it back. When you have those conversations about getting your confidence back after they think they've lost it, even though they might have just kind of misplaced it, and I think there's a difference. What are those conversations like?
Anything from what constitutes a good game, what constitutes a good practice in your eyes, and trying to reframe that, because getting away from goals and assists to, hey, did I work hard? Did I bring a good attitude? Did I control the things I can control? Right? Stacking small wins. You don't have to become the best player, go from the worst to the best, right? We talk about getting to neutral first. Controlling the ups and downs within a practice, within games, game to game. So there's a few different tools and outlooks that we try and have depending on who the player is, how old they are, how down they are, where we're just trying to improve slowly on things and just reset the mind frame of what is confidence, how do I perceive confidence, and what in my mind do I have to do to regain this confidence, because a lot of times they think they have to do way too much.
And I think that, to your point, I think that if they think they have to do too much, it might be just taking that first step and understanding that it's a part of that process. You can't just go from 1 to 100. You got to go 2, 5, 10, 15, 20. You can't just jump and think that it's going to be back at 100%.
Exactly. And that's why we talk about small goals too, right? We've got these overarching goals, and okay, but let's dial it down to things that we can control. And so what can we do on a weekly basis to get better? And that can help with confidence too, right? Checking things off a list feels nice and it feels good. So, okay, let's check things off the list this week, right? What can we do to get better, right? Regardless of practice and what's going on and what do you got going on, right? What can we do to get better this week? And, small wins like that can help with confidence too.
Our resident mogul in training, Michael Parkhurst from Beyond Goals Mentoring, dropping by. What was the last book you read?
Ooh, John, it's been a little while.
Yeah.
But I am picking up my next book at the library today. I just got the email.
At the library?
Oh, I always use the library, John.
Nice. Where's your card? Where's your library card?
Oh, I always tell them I forgot my library card, and I just give them my ID.
Ha!
I have no idea where my card is. But Essentialism is the book that I'm going to start reading.
Essentialism?
Yes.
Okay. So what in the wide world of sports is essentialism, sir?
I have no idea if it relates to sports at all.
But doesn't necessarily have to, though.
Yeah, but somebody, I can't even remember who right now. Somebody had recommended the book, and I had looked at it briefly, and I thought, you know what? I think this will be interesting to read, because that's my toughest problem, is finding books that I think will be interesting. And I don't like reading fiction. I like reading things that are going to help me or improve me, or that I find like Shoe Dog was really good, interesting to me. And just, I like things that, I don't know, are going to help me in life.
According to the Amazons, Essentialism by Greg McKeown, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less.
Yeah.
Essentialism isn't about getting more done in less time. It's about getting only the right things done.
Yeah.
That's deep, man.
I'll let you know how deep it is.
Well, it's like, have you ever found yourself stretched too thin? Are you often busy but not productive? Do you feel like your time is constantly being hijacked? If you answered yes to any of these, the way out is the, in italic font, Way of the Essentialist. So Greg McKeown's book is the next one on your list. I get that. Okay.
Yep, I'm going to start it tonight.
All right. before you get out of here and go and grab the McEwen book on being an essentialist, full disclosure, I have already purchased the sweatshirt that is available from Rhode Island FC.
Thank you, John.
It was an absolute no-brainer. The Hope, Power, Friendship, Providence sweatshirt is out, and it is by Frog and Toad, collaboration with Providence-based design print. All proceeds from the Hope, Power, Providence hoodie benefiting Brown University's Ever True Support Fund, which provides immediate and long-term assistance to students affected by the tragedy that occurred on December 13th of 25. Very, very cool. So obviously, when it gets here, because I think it's already out the door, the next time you visit, I will be wearing it just to let you know. But no, it was a slam dunk for me. I saw this and I'm like, yeah, I'm dropping money to help out. That was a no-brainer for me.
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate it. And I'll bring you a jersey when I come down with me. Make sure that you've got one of those.
Oh, see, you would be the man. As you're getting ready for the 26th season, there was a signing yesterday that we mentioned, Leo Alfonso.
Yes.
And he is now in the fold, I imagine, as the inverted left winger, getting to set up that right foot. You got Leo as a part of the conversation here for 26. Nicely done. Who are you signing next?
We've got a couple guys signed, but the registration and blah 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 blah. We can't announce, but we should announce. We've got one outgoing today, I think. That's a big one, and then we've got one incoming that I think we can announce on Monday, and I don't know when the others are going to be able to announce, but we've got probably 2 or 3 ready to announce when we can, and then we're still working on one more right now, not US based, so
you got to work on the blah 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 with that guy.
Yeah, well, there's always challenges when you're working with some South American clubs
and individuals attached to players, and it's like yeah,
it takes a while.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes going to court and
what a disaster.
We've hit that one pretty hard, and it looks like Thiago might be heading to Palmeiras, so it looks like there's a possibility that he could be transferred twice before Atlanta United gets paid once.
It's crazy that FIFA has
Yay. Now that we're kind of in that, what's it been like for you as the mogul in training? What did you learn about yourself last season?
Just that you can't assume that communication is going to be had, that you need to be upfront about it and make sure that you're being part of the solution. In that regard, I think we can always get more organized and put better processes in place for different things around the club so that we're doing things in the right, proper manner. I also think we learned that you have to be patient when, these teams are going through tough times and you're churning through managers and you're firing coaches so quickly. I won't say myself, but there were some people within the group, where you get nervous when we go through a stretch like we did. We've done it 2 years in a row, right? Where first year we were bottom of the table midway through the season. And even last year we were outside of the playoff table for most of the season. And, mid-season we're not playing well at home. We've opened up the new stadium. We're not scoring. Things aren't going great, and pressure starts to build. But, if you are confident with the people you have and they're doing the right things, you hope that things turn around. And so, in the end, after 2 years, you look back and say, hey, man, we made it to the Eastern Conference semifinals twice. We won it once. It's pretty successful.
So then can I ask you an official question, and you can choose to answer it however you choose to answer?
Sure.
The current disagreement between the Players Association and the league, 38 bargaining sessions, I think, according to the PA, and right now there is no collective bargaining agreement between the players and the league. Where are, and this is going to be such an overarching question, where are things right now? What is your level of confidence? This is almost like a 3-parter. Where are you right now in confidence, in discussions, feedback, all of these kinds of things. What's the update on where things stand between the players and the owners in the league right now?
I think we're getting there. I think that there's rightful gripes on the player side with some of the things that some of the teams have done in the past and what they've gotten away with that needs to change. And that's a good thing and for everybody. And I think that those, for the most part, those changes have been addressed and have been agreed upon. There's still some little things. I shouldn't say little, because obviously they're important enough that agreements haven't been signed. But I do think that an agreement will come before the season. My guess is, just based off of experience and how I was part of the MLS ones, it probably won't get done until closer to the season start, right, where the pressure really mounts.
Hey, training camp's coming. You got one of those.
Yeah, and even, I mean, in MLS, we went through preseason without the agreement signed, right? So, I mean, you'd love to say that it'll be signed before then, but one side will probably dig in and use that leverage and whatever. But I really don't foresee and wouldn't want either side to do anything drastic. We want to play games and make sure this league continues to grow in the right way, and players need to be taken care of, no doubt. There's absolute bare minimums that need to be taken care of, and that's a good thing. So I think that some of the things that we're still disagreeing upon, it's not that anymore, which is good. But it's tough being on this side. I feel for the players, and I want them to get what they deserve while also protecting the league, right? Because it's not like we're MLS. Right? We had a team fold last year. So we've got teams that don't have billionaire owners that are losing substantial money every year. So, you have to be a little bit careful as well.
Thank you for that. It was, like I said, with part of the topics and everything, literally, I figured I would ask. And like I said, you could have answered it however you wanted to, but thank you for your candor in that. I know I've kept you into added time, and I apologize for that, because I know that you have a fantastic weekend planned, and hopefully it is as quiet or as rambunctious as you wish, and that folks answer texts when they're upstairs, when it's time to help out with dinner. It's great to see you, my friend. And
likewise,
let me know when you're coming down, because then
I will.
we could kind of break bread or something. Who knows?
Let's do it.
All right.
I will let you know.
Be safe, my friend. We'll see you soon.
Hey, John. Have a good weekend.
There goes Michael Parkhurst, everybody. And Parky is for his first visit here in 2026. And it's always good to catch up with him. Remember, at BG Mentoring on the Twitters, beyondgoalsmentoring.com. Greg Garza, started stuff, and I wanted to kind of look back at 25, kind of get geared into 26, and kind of do a review from everything that they've learned, and we'll go from there. But yeah, what I saw over at Rhode Island FC was literally because of this, because of what happened up at Brown University in Providence. It literally popped up into my email. And for me, it was an absolute no-brainer to grab that to help out at Brown University. But yes, their Hope Power Providence hoodie helps out and benefits the Ever True Support Fund for what happened back about a month ago at Brown University. So very, very cool stuff. And it's like I told Parky, next time he's on, I'm going to wear it just to let him know that it made it. So there you go. All right. I filibustered a bit. All right. Just to recap. Cody Case and Valdosta and some of the coaches that are at the United Soccer Coaches event tomorrow, that we're going to recap that, and we're going to have a bit of a roundtable on Wednesday in the first part of the hour. Find out about the issues that the smaller schools and South Georgia schools are facing and all of that, and we'll kind of find out how it was with United Soccer Coaches, what they learn about each other, how much breaking bread there was, sharing of numbers, all that kind of stuff, to get us ready for the 2026 season. We'll kind of look at what some high school coaches are having to tackle going into a new year. So we'll find out what happened from tomorrow. We'll find out about it on Wednesday, and we'll kind of break down that meeting in Valdosta. And like I said, at the end of the show, I will post Cody's email and Coach Simeon's email from United Soccer Coaches, And literally, this is like the first time that something like this from United Soccer Coaches and schools in South Georgia have combined to have an event like this. So it'll be indoors to start tomorrow morning, and then outdoors with players and learning about each other in the afternoon down in Valdosta. So if you know anybody down there in the footprint, and sidebar, we're catching up with our friends from Valdosta FC, a new team in the UPSL. We're catching up with them, and that interview is going to be airing early next week as well. So South Georgia moving up when it comes to organized play, when it comes to high schools, when it comes to everything coming online. And so we wanted to kind of introduce South Georgia and what is going on there on a bunch of different fronts here on SDH AM. Before we go into our interview with Phillip Goodrum, let me take a couple of news items here. I mentioned David Ayala and what it is looking like there. That deal that we talked about is now officially official. And it was $2 million as we figured it was. And that's the number now. And this is one of those intra-league transactions. It's not a GAM deal. It is a cash deal. So 5 o'clock this morning, local time, Timbers acquired $2 million from Messi and Friends in exchange for David Ayala. This had been rumored. It is now official. Timbers could get up to $150,000 if certain performance metrics are reached. Portland may retain a sell-on percentage should Ayala be transferred above a specific amount. Quote from Ned Grabavoy. 4 seasons with the club, 3+2, 88 appearances. Timbers signed the midfielder who occupied a U22 slot from Estudiantes de La Plata ahead of the 22 campaign. So that's the rundown of that transaction. And so that happened on the overnights. And so you've got that. Also on the board, getting you into all of your news and notes. Once again, quickly, Phillip Goodrum coming up around the corner. And Ben Jacobs, one of the busiest men in show business. We're going to try and track him down. He had to attack the Liam Rosenior press conference this morning. And that is where he is currently. From the FA, Chelsea's been charged with a breach of FA Rule E20.1 following the fixture against Aston Villa. Alleged the club failed to ensure its players and or other relevant personnel positioned around the technical area after the final whistle did not behave in an improper or provocative or abusive way. Chelsea has until Monday, 12th of January, to provide a response. So the FA is not happy. Bukayo Saka's agreed to a new Arsenal contract through the summer of 31, according to David Ornstein et al. Rosenior had his big press conference this morning, and that's where Ben Jacobs was. You'll be able to hear and report on everything. You'll see all the quotes coming up in Ben's timeline at Jacobs Ben on the Twitters. Joel Ward joining Swansea till the end of the year at the age of 36. Spurs in advance talks for Sosa following a new €15 million bid. The Brazilian left-back, 19-year-old keen on the move. Santos is yet to answer. Antoine Semenyo took the picture. So it's officially official. 5.5-year deal, $62 million plus $1.5 million. Record sale for Bournemouth, who also keep a sell on. 2-footed style, and Semenyo is going to be wearing the number 42. So that is going to be big news today. Fenerbahce yesterday picked up Matteo Guendouzi from Lazio on a 4.5-year deal. Okay, so let me get into the Thiago Almada before we go to Phillip Goodrum. Cesar Luis Merlo, very, very busy man this time of year. And so Cesar Luis Merlo this morning reports about Thiago Almada and a bunch of other transactions. So let's get you into the Thiago Almada latest. Palmeiras, according to Gaston Edul, want Thiago Almada, and Atletico Madrid already has a stance, and it looks like, let's see if the column will actually let us get to be translated here. Sao Paulo club, like other Brazilian teams, including Grêmio, closely monitoring the situation. And, of course, it bumped us out to where you had to subscribe. So I was trying to sit there and read it before it told me what was going on. But the number that had been posted, it was in the neighborhood of 25. So let's see what Gaston Edul has to say about it. And Gaston Edul is a Class A. He is a Class A source. I mean, he's got 1.1 million followers on the 280-character app. So Palmeiras made a formal offer for Thiago Almada. It is the club that has advanced the most. Simeone gives him little continuity, and this is from Gaston himself. Simeone gives him little continuity. He wants to prioritize the Argentine national team, makes the decision, but it's very feasible that he leaves Atletico de Madrid now. Palmeiras is now in the front, and we had seen the number of 20 to 25 million euro for a 50% sell on. So that's kind of where we are. All right. Get more news and stuff and get you ready for the weekend. FA Cup, AFCON, all the things on the flip side of this. It was great to catch up with Phillip Goodrum, who's at camp. Phillip Goodrum is at camp, and he's learning how to use his off foot so he can become a two-footed striker in USL Championship. Phillip Goodrum is now in Lexington. He was in Louisville. Just part of the conversation that we had with Phillip Goodrum yesterday. He's probably at camp right now, so he would be listening or watching this since we talked to him yesterday. Here's our conversation with Phillip Goodrum. So now you're on both sides. Is there an official name for the derby? Is it bluegrass or?
I think it's called the Commonwealth.
Okay.
Something.
Commonwealth. So the Commonwealth Derby. Yeah, we were calling it bluegrass and Commonwealth and all those kinds of things. What's it like to be now representing the other side of that derby now?
Yeah, it feels good. I'm switching sides. Really excited to be joining Lexington, a newer club in our league, and as you know, I've been around the USL for a while, so yeah, excited for a new opportunity. But I'll be moving just an hour and 15 minutes up the road now.
What were the conversations like with you and representation to sit there and it's like, well, hey, would you be interested in coming over to Lex? What were the conversations like?
Yeah, so I knew they'd been interested for a while, but to be honest with you, I was really happy at Louisville City. And I mean, as everybody knows, it's a really outstanding club in the USL Championship. Kind of set the mark for what other clubs can do. And I was talking with my agent, and he presented the opportunity. They reached out to him, and at first, I was like, I don't think this is an opportunity I want to go to. I want to go for right away. And then after a few more conversations, it was like, okay, well, here's the vision of the club. Here's what they want to do. They're clearly very ambitious and out to spend some money and go and bring in some talent to really change the culture and compete right away. And so for me, it was like, all right, let's give it a look and let's see if this is something we can pursue and make it work out so that everybody's happy. Because like I said, yeah, Lou City is a great club with so many fantastic people, but I just felt like this was the right opportunity and I couldn't say no to it. And so in the end, I'm really happy to be joining Lex.
When you are, having these kinds of conversations, I mean, it's easy to see that what Lex has done, and it's across the board. It's not just with the men's team. It's a men's team. It's a women's team. It's investing in infrastructure and academy and capital and all these different kinds of things. Is it kind of like the way that we envision things like with college football athletes being recruited? Did they tour the campus? You sit there and it's like, hey, this is what we're doing here, and this is what we're doing here. Was it kind of like that kind of a thing?
Yeah, actually, no, I've still never been to Lexington.
Okay.
Because when we played them in the Jägermeister Cup last year, I was carrying a little minor injury, and we decided with how the standings were, it just didn't make sense for me to play in that game. So, and then during the recruitment process, it's been the off season. So I was like, the opportunity to fly there was available, but I was like, it's Kentucky. I'm comfortable with it. I talked to a lot of people guys who play for the club and people who live there, and everybody loved it. But it's definitely a recruitment process, and so a lot of conversations were had from, you know, ownership group, front office, all the way down to coaching staff and players, and we made it work. And so it was definitely a fun process, one that now I've been through a few times in my career. But yeah, new opportunity.
So what were the conversations like with coach to try to sit there and it's like, hey, we envision you doing this, 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 and this? What were those conversations like? If you want to divulge them, you can. If they're supposed to be top secret, you can hang on to them as much as you want. You can divulge as much as you want here. What were they telling you about your place in their future?
Yeah, so with Mac, I did a lot of research talking to players who had played for him at New Mexico, at University of Denver, and who had known him around the league, and everybody said fantastic things. And I was like, all right, there's got to be a chink in the armor. But then when I spoke to him on the phone, it was fantastic. He was like, Phil, I think you're a beast. I want to just unleash you. I don't want you to hold back anything. I want you to go and be your authentic self. score goals, cause chaos, and just be yourself, man. Go out there, have fun, and lead the line from the front. And so when I heard that, I was like, all right, because that's what you want to hear. I want to. Anybody who's watched me play knows that I wear my heart on my sleeve and I play with my emotions, and I am full go for 90 minutes. And so hearing that from him, along with the tactical side of things, was really reassuring. And I was like, all right, this thing might go through.
Nothing like being told that you get to be a minister of chaos, huh?
Yeah, he said, I want you. I don't want you to hold yourself back. If anybody needs to hold you back, I'll be the one to do it. But he's like, I want you to just be yourself, unleash it. And so, yeah, minister of chaos. I like that term.
Well, as long as if you're going to print that up on T-shirts, as long as there's like an SDH logo on one of the,
That's right.
it's like when you sit there, Minister of Chaos, Phil Goodrum. You're looking at a roster now, and the build here in the off season. Yes, proper hydration during interviews is always
That's
important.
right. That's right.
I mean, you're looking at Aaron Malloy, you're looking at Nick Firmino, so there's an intersection there. You've got the Scotts, you've got Michael Adedikan, you've got Latif Blessing. I mean, there's some heavyweights here that are going to be a part of that offensive structure that you're looking at in 26.
Yeah, there are. And then on the defensive side of things, bringing in Arturo Defender of the Year. I mean, they're really building a pretty well-rounded roster, in my opinion. And yeah, playing with Nick, who I know from Atlanta, and obviously Aaron Malloy, who what he's done in this league speaks for itself. And I'm excited. I think there's some guys who will be able to really find me the ball up top, and it's going to be a good roster. Going to be
Sit tight with it here because there is a bit of an
major.
audio drift in because he is in Florida at camp.
Together, and can we really the culture and instill like a winning mindset in everything we do? And so that's, I think, the main goal. And as you know, preseason schedule just came out, and so we got a few challenging games, one down in Atlanta again, and so we're gonna find out how we are pretty quick.
Yeah, and when you look at your career path over the last handful of years, it's been Kentucky, it's been Oklahoma, it's been Tennessee, it's been Georgia. What has it been like for you to see how the sport has grown here in the Southeast in places like Memphis and Atlanta and Lou and Lex and in Tulsa and all these different places? What's it been like for you to see it grow here in the Southeastern U.S.?
Yeah, and so I'm a Southern boy at heart. And growing up in Charlotte, I played in Carolina Rapids Academy, which is now Charlotte Independence's academy. And then going to the Atlanta Uniteds and the Lou Cities and seeing the opportunity that these kids have to develop at such a young age at high level professional academies. It's been like astounding. I've been like, man, I wish I had the opportunities to play in a Charlotte FC academy when I was a kid or an Atlanta United. And then seeing guys like Jay Fortune and Will Riley, who I played with back at the twos, like climb the ladder all the way up. And so it's been incredible to see how this game has grown, how fan engagement has continued to rise, not just league soccer level, but also in USL. Because I mean, you look at Lou City and you're walking around Louisville, and you got a lot of fans who will pop up and be like, "Phillip Goodrum, what are you doing?" And so it's cool because I didn't grow up experiencing that very much in Charlotte, and so it's really cool to have that now.
So, all right, I'll bite. What's it like for you when you're shopping for groceries and somebody sits there and goes, they kind of look at you funny. You're in like aisle 4 trying to get healthy food, or you might be getting junk food or something, and not letting anybody know. You're sitting there, it's like, oh, Doritos, okay, and then someone's kind of looking at you funny, and you can sense it, and then you look over, and then they're wearing the gear, and then they sit there and go, what's it like to be recognized in a town where you're making that kind of a presence on the field and off?
Yeah, when I've got the Doritos or the beer in my hand, I just put it back on the shelf and then walk over and grab a protein bar. But no, it's cool. It's I always dreamt about being a professional soccer player. I'm really blessed to be able to do what I do, and so it's fun to get recognized, and I'm always just going to be my authentic self, and so It's cool. I really love what I do. I love meeting fans, people who are really into the sport, and having those conversations. Cause yeah, so it's cool.
Last couple of seasons, you've been locked on 17 goals, and then your time over at 901, it was 28 and 47 appearances, and then you were with the twos. How has your game grown / evolved? And well, I'll take it two at a time. How has your game grown and evolved over the last handful of years where you've turned into this prolific scorer that everybody has to pay attention to?
Yeah, I think I learned so many lessons playing at Atlanta. At times with the first team, watching guys like Joseph Martinez in his prime, and then playing with the second team and just scrapping it out. And back when they were in USL, losing a lot of games, but learning a lot. And so I think my game has grown a lot, and it's been because I was humbled so much to start my professional career at Atlanta. And then two, because I've had some really good coaches along the way who have believed in me even when I haven't believed in myself. And so they've worked with me, like guys like Ben Pierman, Danny Cruz, guys who have really challenged me to grow in my game and what I can do and putting the ball in the back of the net. And also, just giving me the opportunities even when I felt like I didn't always deserve them. And so it's just becoming a more consistent finisher while also having that work rate and that killer instinct that I think I've always had just in me. But yeah, fine tuning a few things here and there, but just having the killer instinct as a finisher is something that I've really grown into and embraced.
So, where is the Minister of Chaos in his growth curve? What else has to continue to grow? What else do you think you need to work on at this point? Proven goal scorer in USL
Yeah.
Championship, we know this, but what else do you think you need to grow to evolve and get past 17 goals in a season and get 18 to 20?
Yeah, I think I've got to develop my left foot a little bit more. I'm actually down in Florida right now, working with a group called Sat Soccer, who works with some big time players like Pulisic, Aguero, Jude Bellingham. They've had guys here really big time in Miami area to train. So I'm working with them right before preseason for a week and a half just to try and fine tune my finishing. And it's all about timing. Quick trigger, quick release on right and left foot. And so I think that's something that I can do. Maybe I'm never going to be the biggest guy. I'm never going to be the fastest guy, but I would like to be able to score a lot more goals on my left foot specifically.
So is it kind of like Rocky 2 where Mickey is trying to teach Rocky how to fight right-handed, and it's just like, we're
Yeah,
gonna
behind
pin
the
you,
back.
yeah, we're gonna pin your right leg behind your back, and that way you're gonna have to force to do everything with your left foot. I mean, what are they having you do to where you can think with both sides of your brain? Because I know that when you're dominant one way, that's a default. It's like, okay, I
Yeah.
know that I'm safe doing this. I know that I can execute doing this. How are they getting you to develop that other side to where you're just as comfortable?
Yeah, it's just repetition. And so it's a lot of playing it out in your mind, honestly. Like how do I use my left hand when I'm planting to shoot on my right foot? And then okay, can I replicate that on my weak foot? And then here it's just everything you do is when you're tired because a lot of guys train in the off season and they do it just fresh. They kind of go through the motions. Okay, I'm taking my rest, but here it's toasty. It's hot down here, and so they're getting a lot of technical and fitness work under stress while we're already tired, and then going straight into the finishing side of things and having me do that. So it replicates a shot when it's in the 85th minute and it's the middle of the summer in Atlanta, and you got to put the ball in the side netting. And so that's stuff that I think I haven't done or pushed myself or known to do in the years past that I'm doing down here.
What's it like to challenge yourself like that?
It's great. Oh, it's incredible. And it's also good because there's other top professionals that are down here working. And so there's a kid, Jude Terry, LAFC. He was here working with me. Damian Loss, who's now at Austin FC. And there's another group of MLS guys coming in right now. And so it's good to have somebody in your ear pushing you like, hey, do you want to be an average professional or do you want to be an elite professional? It's all in the fine details. And so it's great because I always say, if you're staying stagnant, you're not going anywhere, you're not growing. And so I want to keep getting better 1% every day.
So is it like summer camp where lights out at 9 o'clock and you're having campfires and doing s'mores and telling and swapping stories? Do you guys leave with a soccer T-shirt that's the same color that everybody wears? What's it like down there?
No, it's everybody's down here because you can get a fantastic vacation as well. And while doing that, you can also focus a good chunk of your day on improving your soccer game and refining those small details. So no, I got dinner with some of the guys, but here it's just kind of soak up the vibes at the beach for a little bit, and then also in the mornings you're coming to work, and it is not easy work, but it's meaningful.
How do you do the work in the off season, not go past that point to where you might hurt something?
Mhm.
You go to that edge, learn where that edge is, make sure that you don't cross it, because the last thing you want to do is do any kind of off-season work period, whether it's weights or
Yeah.
distance or speed or whatever. And then if something happens, then that causes the beginning of the season to get pushed back for you. How difficult is it to navigate that to where you're maxing out what you want to try to do, but you don't want to go too far so it doesn't hurt you when you actually have to play?
Yeah, totally. And I've done the latter before. I've injured myself in an off season by doing too much like speed work, and then come into preseason nursing an injury, and that is the last thing you want. So it's just about knowing your body and having good people in your corner to work with you, and just listening to your body and not overdoing it while also pushing yourself to get better. So it's a fine line, but now that I'm 28, I think I got a pretty good grasp on where I'm at and what I can do and can't.
And is it more of a grasp than it was at 27, or now that you're at 28? Yeah, I can look back and say when I was 20 or 22, 23, just out of the college years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sir, is there a difference
No,
in all of that?
everybody's different. Like when their body kind of whatever develops starts getting old. When I was in my second year at the twos at Atlanta, I like before then I never warmed up. I was always the guy who would walk on the field, just hit 50 balls in the side net, do a little bit of this, and we're good to go. And then stay after and run or do whatever. When I hit like 23, 24, I was like, okay, I need to start doing a little bit more activation, a little more stretching. So that was the age for me where it all changed. But yeah, it's different for everybody. And I'm a pretty naturally fit guy. So lucky there that my body's still feeling good.
And you were doing it down there in Florida, learning the tricks of the trade and learning how to be an improved minister of chaos with
That's right.
with what's going on at Lex. Phillip, we
So,
can't appreciate you hanging out with us in between sessions and letting us know what the progress report is and what it's going to be like wearing a different set of colors in USL Championship this season. It's always great to catch up with you, my friend. Don't be a stranger, and be keeping an eye on you, especially with that particular matchup that you were talking about. That's coming up in short order, so we might.
yeah, 2-3 weeks back down in Atlanta. So I'm excited. But thank you for having me on.
Anytime, my friend. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Phillip Goodrum, everybody, and that's good to catch up with him at camp. So Phillip's at camp, and so we caught up with him thanks to the powers that are up at Lex SC to secure that for us, to keep an eye on somebody that obviously we've kept an eye on here in Atlanta with his time with the twos, and now he's gone on to places in USL Championship where he's lit it up. A couple of different places, whether we're talking Tulsa, whether we're talking Memphis, whether we're talking Louisville, and now he's at Lex. Just to give you an idea, we'll say hi to everybody, and we'll do what to watch coming up in a second. We've got gossip, we've got juice boxes, all the things. So just to give you an idea currently as to what the roster looks like with Lexington, here is what it's looking like right now in this roster that Phillip Goodrum is a part of in Lexington. Just to give you an idea. Arturo Ordonez, one of the top defenders in the league. He's on this roster. Forwards, obviously, you've got Phillip Goodrum. You've got the Scott brothers, Tariq and Malik. You've got Marcus Epps. You've got Bordilio Rodriguez. Your keepers are 3 deep. Oliver Simla, Logan Ketterer, and Brooks Thompson. And then your midfield, Luis Felipe, Aaron Malloy, Nick Firmino, Blaine Ferry, Latif Blessing, and Michael Adedican. That's what you're staring at right now with this roster at Lex. That's what you're staring at right now coming into the 26th season. So Lex is not messing around. They brought in like 92 people, and it is a stacked roster. And to the point that has been made at times by our friend Kaylor Hodges at the USL show, at Kaylor Hodges at the USL show. What is it going to be with this philosophy? Is it going to mesh? Is it going to work? And so that is one of the key questions involving Lex this season. We're going to keep an eye on it. And once again, big thanks to the front office and everybody there up at Lex for making this happen. And a big shout out to our friend Nolan Galbraith, who gave us a couple of time slots. Hey, can you do this, this, or this? And we're like, yeah, why don't we go here? And so we caught up with Phillip yesterday in between sessions at winter camp in Florida. So there you go. Like I said, one of the storylines of the USL Championship, what Lex is doing to build. We'll keep an eye on that. We're also trying to time to catch up with our friend Steve Cook, who's now up there in the front office, and he's doing stuff on the academy side and getting folks ready for their college years and how to navigate that landscape. So when Steve is on this side of the Atlantic after he has stopped watching football matches in Sheffield and he's back here after the holidays, we'll catch up with Steve. And hopefully we can do that on a bit of a recurring basis because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. And when you can have someone like Steve Cook to be that voice and that bartender for you to bounce ideas off of, it'll be good to catch up with Steve, hopefully, on a semi-recurring basis when it comes to all of the stuff that he's trying to tackle and advice that he would give and those kinds of things. This is SDH AM here on yet another week. And so it's now time to say hi to everybody and let you know what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. We'll go through all the gossip, rumor, and innuendo. We got your juice boxes, and we'll get you ready for the weekend with any of the other news that's fit to print before we get out of here on yet another week. So just to let you know, Wednesday is going to be pretty stacked next week, where we're going to have our high school coaches roundtable, and then we are also going to have AC Boise. We're going to get their update because they are now signing players in USL League One. We're going to catch up with them and find out what's going on. So we know what the midweek is going to be like next week, our high school roundtable and AC Boise. We know that's what's going on. Valdosta FC, they're new in the UPSL. We're going to catch up with them. That'll be early next week as well. We also have our guests and all of our pundits. There's a new episode of the Soccer for US POD that will be out later today. Keeping your ears out for another 3D in the AA era. And, obviously the era may need an AA after what has been going on recently. So Drew Dickinson, the screaming that you'll hear, if anything involving Manchester United, won't happen involving the Premier League this week because it's an FA Cup weekend. But AA is coming up, I'm fairly certain. And you've got a new Soccer for US POD that's coming up as well. So that's what you're staring at. Morning four card. I'm just going to go backward here. Incompatible pollutant for blocked. Bot. So morning four card. And morning, Abby. Dell is saying that Michael Parkhurst and Rhode Island are not allowed to have any Charleston Battery players. And, yeah, Abby, I was looking at the thing, too, where it looks like they have all the nation scarves, and apparently it's part of a season ticket package. So as much as if they could have the scarves available for all the participating nations in the cup that the world is chasing, I'm sure that if they put those out, and they're just nameplates, I don't think they're like nameplates with logos or anything, but they're nameplates in colors. It's a interesting idea to bring in season ticket holders for Rhode Island FC this year. So Dell with the update on Greg McEwen and his book that Michael Parkhurst is checking out of the library without a library card. It is to achieve more meaningful results. One must systematically identify and focus on the vital few activities, the essential, while eliminating everything else. And Abby's like, yes, they can give you a new library card. Dell's already predicting what's going on in what is happening in the season. He's already predicting. Dell is already predicting something that's going to happen during the season, April 22nd. We need to file this one away. So, Abby, remind me the next time that they're in, how do you have players deal with a toxic coach? We'll ask that question next time around. Ewan, if I remember correctly, Parky said that they're going to be the training facility. Okay, so we'll ask about the training facility next time. So that's good stuff. So training facility for Rhode Island. And yes, it is tough being a Parkhurst. So morning, Evan. Ewan, thanks for dropping by. Morning, Abby. Yeah, and that was a good catch. Leo Afonso on the left-hand side, very, very good. And Yeah, Phillip Goodrum, that was definitely there. So morning Dell, morning Abby, and did not. I know that Arthur had an interview last night, did not listen to the Tata interview last night. So we'll kind of circle back with that. Morning David, and yeah, I mean, yeah, we got into the whole thing with Thiago Almada and the look and everything, but yeah, so Thiago could be moved twice before Atlanta United gets paid once. And that was why I wanted to bring that up with our resident mogul in training. So morning, Ricky, morning, David, morning, Abby, morning, Ewan, morning, Dell. And let's see, was there anybody else that I missed? Morning four card. So that's where we are. All right. So let's get you into the other gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, what you're looking at, and who could be moving where, and all the things. So that's what you're staring at. All right. So let's get you into the gossip. We mentioned that Semenyo is in the barn at about 64 million pounds, and he's going to be wearing the number 42. Here's the rest of your reports and things. Arsenal ready to enter the race for Mark Gahey. Manchester City are confident they're going to sign him in the coming days, beating Liverpool to Gahey's signature. And they were looking at 25, I think was the number that we saw. A variety of papers reporting on Gahey, who's interested in where he's going. We mentioned Spurs and Sosa. Apparently, Spurs have agreed to personal terms, according to Fabrizio Romano. Still looking at the flat rate fee and whether that's going to happen. Wolves are determined to keep hold of English youth international Mateus Mane this month, insisting the 18-year-old is not for sale at any price. That's also the four-letter paper. Omar Marmoush has no plans to leave Manchester City in January, intends to stay at the club, fight for his place. That's from Florian Plettenberg. Real Madrid stepping up their interest in Dortmund center back Nico Schlotterbeck, as Dio Upamecano is expected to sign a contract extension with Bayern Munich. That's from Bild. City also interested in signing 21-year-old Brentford in Italy under 21 right back Michael Coyote. Real Madrid willing to sell Antonio Rudiger in January for 10 million euro, with Chelsea and PSG keen on a move for the center back. Contract at the Bernabeu runs out in the summer, so Real Madrid's trying to get something for him so he doesn't just leave on a free. Union Berlin center back Danilo Doecki is said to be very keen on a move to Leeds to play under Daniel Farke. Villa have agreed on a 10 million pound deal for 16-year-old Metz and Luxembourg forward Brian Maggio. That's from Fabrizio Romano. One-time target Patrick Bamford set to extend his loan stay at Sheffield United. Ipswich is now turning to Lyndon Dykes, who is at Birmingham City. Also keen on a loan deal for Kendry Paez, who's been on loan at Strasbourg and has only started 4 matches. Leicester City boss Marty Cifuentes wants to sign a striker and a number 10 in the transfer window. Good luck on that. And Mansfield Town is set to sign Victor Adeboyejo, and he's entering the final 6 months of his deal with the Trotters. So that is your round one of gossip anyway. And looking at the other news getting into the weekend, Brentford have agreed on a deal. This is Lyle Thomas at Sky, with Club Bruges to sign young striker Kaye Furo straight into the first-team squad, despite only being 18. Belgium U19 international, scored once in 5 appearances in the Jupiler League so far this year. We've mentioned Bukayo Saka's new contract. Roma's preparing to offer for Spurs defender Radu Dragusin, according to Sky in Italy. That's Gianluca Di Marzo and Michael Bridge. And they're likely to propose a loan with an option to buy. Could be a penalty fee if Roma do not make the move permanent at the end of the season. Spurs have not yet made a decision on whether Dragusin could leave on loan, returned after injury with a 1-0 win at Crystal Palace back on the 29th. Rangers make an inquiry for Sunderland's Dan Neil and Romain Mundell. Midfielder Dan Neil captained his hometown club to success at Wembley in May. He's only featured 3 times in the Premier League this year. Mundell's made 8 sub appearances from the bench, and he's looking to play more regularly. And it looks like Mark Gahey, according to Oliver Glasner, is going to start in the 3rd round tie at Macclesfield. Target for a lot of clubs, but they're going to have to, if you're Macclesfield, you're going to have to go up against Mark Gahey this weekend. We mentioned other things that are going on. I'm trying to see if there's anything that we've missed. Brentford are confirming an exit on Miles Peart-Harris. Let's see. West Ham's George Earthy set to join Bristol City on a loan. Pep refuses to comment on further business in January. He refused to comment on whether Manchester City would add further reinforcements. Once again, we mentioned the 64 million pound switch for Antoine Semenyo. Vardial, Diaz, and Stones are all out injured. John Stones also at the end of a contract at the end of this year. So that means Nathan Ake and Max Lane are going to be at the center of the defense. Sky has reported City are currently debating whether or not to bring forward their plans to sign a center back this summer to now. Guardiola, when asked about the further additions in January, says, I don't know. I cannot answer that question. So, and Antoine Semenyo is also going to be in the City squad that's going to face Exeter in the FA Cup on Saturday. Let's see. Louis Copley, Arsenal prospect, just signed a new deal before a loan move to League Two. And Semenyo's sale takes Bournemouth's earnings to £266 million in a 6-month period. £266.5 million in transfer sales. Follows departures of Dean Howson to Real Madrid for 50, Milos Kirkic to Liverpool for 40. All these are in pounds. Ilya Zabarny to PSG for 57, Dango Ouattara to Brentford for 42. They spent 136.7 on Petrovic, Diakite, Ben Gannon Doak, Adli, Miloslavljevic, and Adrian Truffert. So right now, they're basically doubling their business. Right now, they're at a plus 130 when it comes to all of their expenditures. So good business so far that has been done by Bournemouth and Andoni Iraola in the front office. West Ham, from The Guardian, Jacob Steinberg. West Ham apparently is losing faith in Nuno and is unhappy that he embraced Forest players on the pitch after they lost on Tuesday. Remember, Nuno was fired by Forest in September. 10 matches without a win. West Ham remain reluctant to make him their second sacking of the season, but Slaven Bilic apparently is warming up in the bullpen. And according to Jacob, they are increasingly unimpressed with the Portuguese's tactics and did not like his demeanor after the latest defeat. Smiling and embracing some of his own players, pictured with Morato, Morgan Gibbs-White. It's all accepted that he was liked by Forest players in facing him for the first time. It was felt, according to Steinberg, that he should have waited until he was away from the cameras before reuniting with members of his own team. So apparently West Ham is less than pleased with the on-field congratulations and reuniting with players that Nuno did after their loss earlier this week. West Ham brought in Pablo Felipe from Gil Vicente, Tati Castellanos from Lazio, and the €21 million plus 3 fee has caused surprise. Joined Gil Vicente for €250,000 in July of 24. Nuno pushed for Pablo and Castellanos. Callum Wilson is in talks to leave West Ham by mutual consent. West Ham have QPR in the FA Cup coming up this weekend. So you've got that. I'm trying to see what other storylines we might have missed. We've got obviously the Gabriel Martinelli madness that happened with the match yesterday. And Daniel Farkas speaking about Leeds' plans to redevelop Elland Road and increase capacity by about 40%. So that's interesting. A 3-match ban for Michael Keane for his red card. David Moyes is saying it's extraordinary. Club released a statement arguing that the incident where Keane was sent off for pulling Tolu Orokodare's hair, quote, did not meet the threshold for violent conduct as defined in the rules and that the action was neither forceful nor intentional. Michael Keane is going to miss Everton's next 3 matches. Adjust your fantasy teams accordingly. David Moyes, quote, to say it's violent conduct, we've just seen a game last night where it's okay to throw a ball at somebody, okay to pick them up with a bad injury, but they have a little pull of somebody's hair accidentally. And to mean a 3-game ban is quite extraordinary for me. It shouldn't have even been any games, but I'm more embarrassed for whoever was on VAR. This was a young referee doing only his 3rd or 4th game, and VAR gave him a terrible decision. VAR didn't need to get involved in that at all, looking for the smallest things there and probably things I don't think anybody would have really paid any interest in any way. Okay, so now that David Moyes has said that, I'm going to do something really quickly here, and I'm going to see where I can find it. So if I go on the 280-character app and I search for Michael Keane red card, and I'm going to see if the video exists anywhere. All right. So literally Michael Keane, there's a still that is out, and I'll see if I can find the actual video. But you have a still photo of Michael Keane who is behind Orokodare and literally he is staring at the ponytail that Tolu has, and he's got his right hand on it and he's grabbing down on it. That is a still of Michael Keene. So literally that, and he's trying to almost use the ponytail as a boost. And like I said, and I'm going with stills, and I'm trying to add the stills in my head here. So Keene is trying to climb Tolu from behind. As he is scaling him, right leg in the air, the right hand for Keene grabs onto Tolu's ponytail as he's eyeing the ball, and he's trying to go like that. Length of suspension, 3 matches. And so you're looking at all of this. And so, I'm like I said, I'm trying to find, I want the video, and I want to try to play it in real time. So literally, Keene is scaling Tolu from behind, trying to grab onto his left arm as a brace, grab onto the ponytail, and lift himself up. Obviously Tolu is, he's recoiling from a bit of the grab, but I'm sorry, that's a red card. The fact that they gave him 3 on the suspension, that's on Michael Keene. Literally trying to pull his left arm down, use the right arm to grab the ponytail and propel himself up. And David Moyes says it shouldn't have even been any games. More embarrassed for whoever was on VAR. Tolu's back was to the video camera. Michael Keene is grabbing the ponytail and scaling up, using it as a propulsion. VAR didn't need to get involved in that at all, looking at the smallest things. Now, I understand that David Moyes is obviously protecting his player and saying what he's saying. But the video is out there, and literally, if Michael Keene is using Tolu's ponytail as a propulsion device, I hate to break it to David Moyes, did not meet the threshold for violent conduct as defined in the rules, and that the action was neither forceful nor intentional. So when you grab someone's ponytail and use it as a propulsion device to try and drag yourself up even further, grabbing a ponytail and pulling isn't forceful nor intentional. Like I said, the video is out there where you see Michael Keene behind Tolu, left hand on the left shoulder to try to keep the left arm down, right hand on the ponytail and trying to propel himself up. I would respectfully disagree with Coach Moyes. Neither intentional nor forceful. Neither forceful nor intentional, according to David Moyes. If someone could please forward the video to Coach Moyes, I would appreciate it. Okay. Coaching down here for today. Okay. Let's get into juice boxes, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and let you know what's going on here on a Friday. Oh, boy. Yeah, just look at the video. And like I said, I know what David Moyes is doing, but if he firmly believes that, then we would disagree. Remember, today, coming up, top of the hour, it is AFCON quarterfinals at 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Mali and Senegal's at 11. Morocco and Cameroon is at 2. On BN and Espanol, simulcasting once again. Want to watch, where to watch it is brought to you by Fanatis. Go to fntz.co/soccer down here. That link is important. Helps them, helps us, helps you. By adding more matches to everything you're already watching with Fanatis, you get BN Sports. You get all the AFCON. You get everything else that they have. Polish League, Ligue 1, Trophée des Champions yesterday, where Marseille was awful in PKs. Then you've got Tigo Sports, Canal 4, all of those things that are there on BN. All the BNs are there. You also end up with TSA, matches from Argentina, more leagues across South America, all in one place. One subscription, one home, fntz.co/soccer down here for Fanatis. ESPN2's got the Bundesliga. Frankfurt and Dortmund is at 2:30. and that's also being simulcast on ESPN Deportes. Busy day on the Plus. A-League, very, very busy. They already had Brisbane and Auckland this morning. Melbourne and Western Sydney is at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. And there was news out of the A-League about Western Sydney. Apparently, they have dodged the they've dodged the tax man, and it looks like they're going to be somewhat kept afloat. So everything is there. It looks like Jimmy Thielen is going to go from Aberdeen to Western Sydney. Offered himself to the Australian Wanderers, bottom of the table, where Alan Stasiak is currently there. So you're looking at Jimmy Thielen possibly going from one end of the planet to the other. And so saving Western Sydney looks like something that they are trying to get done for the A-League. So let me check. There was other news that came out yesterday of Western United in the A-League has avoided liquidation after securing funds to pay more than $15 million in tax debt. So Western United, they look like they're going to be okay for at least the short term, and Western Sydney might be looking for a coach. FA Cup this afternoon, all at 3:30. They've got 4 matches available: Port Vale, Fleetwood, Preston North End, Wigan, Wrexham, Nottingham Forest. That's probably the marquee. And the team that I don't talk about, that's a bunch of carpetbaggers in League Two. They're hosting Oxford United at 3:30, hopefully in front of about 8 fans, and I hope they're all Oxford Uniteds. Bundesliga 2 o'clock, La Liga at 3. Scottish Championship at Paramount Plus at 2:45 with Ross County and Partick Thistle. On the women's side tonight, Wellington and Melbourne Cities at 10 o'clock. Tomorrow, it is the other quarterfinals in AFCON, Algeria, Nigeria at 11, Egypt and Cote d'Ivoire at 2. League One doubleheader, CBS Sports Network, 7:30 and 10. FA Cup very, very early in the morning. It is Everton and Sunderland. Fox Soccer Plus has a triple header in the French Cup. You've got BN Espanol with your simulcast, ESPN Deportes with simulcasting, FA Cup, Manchester City at 10, Tottenham and Villa at 12:45, La Liga in and around that at 8 and 3. Fox Deportes, Serie A, and the French Cup, Telemundo, Liga MX. Liga MX is back, and it is the beginning of the new round. Guadalajara and Pachuca is at 6. TUDN Sábado Futbolero is at 8 and 10. And Universo has Guadalajara Pachuca at 6. And once again, Univision is simulcasting what you're going to get on TUDN. Golazo Network triple header Serie A in the morning through the afternoon. Liga MX, Monterrey and Toluca at 10 o'clock. ESPN Plus has A-League, Eredivisie, all the FA Cups, and I mean all the FA Cups, going all the way from 7 o'clock in the morning where there's 4 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon with Charlton Athletic and Chelsea. Bundesliga, 5 matches available. La Liga has 4 matches available. Las Palmas and Deportivo La Coruña is at 12:20. Big Fox O&E, 3 matches in the French Cup and the Serie A doubleheader. FoxSports.com, French Cup at noon, Serie A doubleheader. Paramount Plus, 4 matches League One, 1 match League Two, Serie A, Liga MX. Women's side, A-League, Melbourne and Brisbane, Arsenal, Manchester United in the Super League at 7:30 in the morning, and Juarez and León on Fox Deportes, and that gets you through your Saturday. Now, juice boxes. I'll let you know what's going on there. And there's a lot going on there. So if we go to the FA Cup, 32 matches. We'll only go through like the big numbers. So today at 2:30, the 4 matches that start, fairly even with the Carpetbaggers hosting Oxford United, Port Vale -122, Preston North End -119 hosting Wigan. Wrexham is a dog hosting Nottingham Forest at the race course at a +295. Nottingham Forest a -122. Tomorrow, favorites, Leicester, Everton, Crystal Palace. Macclesfield, by the way, is a +881. Wolves, a -476. Shrewsbury. I should have worn my Shrewsbury gear today. And a +975. Boreham Wood, +106. Burnley favored at a -128 with Millwall. Southampton favored at Doncaster Rovers at a -130. Fulham at a -169 hosting Middlesbrough. Ipswich -370 hosting Blackpool, who's a +800. Manchester City a -1429. I think that's made up. -1429 for Manchester City. Exeter a +1825. Newcastle a -133 against Bournemouth. Salford City a +110 with Swindon Town. Sheffield Wednesday a +881 hosting Brentford a -417. Coventry favored on the road at Stoke at a +114. Bristol City a plus 125 hosting Watford. Birmingham City a minus 139 hosting Cambridge or at Cambridge United. Grimsby Town a minus 500 hosting Weston-super-Mare. I guess that's how it's pronounced. It might be Super-Mare by the sea. Grimsby a minus 500, Weston-super-Mare a plus 994. Spurs is a plus 150 hosting Aston Villa at a plus 156. Charlton United, the Blades a plus 581 hosting Chelsea at a minus 270. Then Sunday, Derby, a dog at home to Leeds at a minus 137. Arsenal at Portsmouth and at Fratton Park. Portsmouth is a plus 1,000. Arsenal's a minus 476. Hull a plus 118 hosting Blackburn. Norwich City a minus 172 hosting Walsall. Sheffield United a minus 263 hosting Mansfield Town at a plus 544. Swansea a plus 150 hosting West Brom at a plus 166. Their financials came out, by the way, West Brom and it's Brighton. We'll get into Brighton's. Sorry, wrong Albion. Brighton's finances came out and they're at a minus 55 million pounds over the last operating year. West Ham a minus 189 over QPR to plus 400. Manchester United minus 122. They're the late game in the FA Cup with Brighton on Sunday morning at a plus 264. One game, Monday night FA football. Liverpool a minus 625 hosting Barnsley at a plus 1063. So that's your FA Cup on the weekend, and there's a lot of those numbers that are there as well. So where's my Albion note from this morning? Is it deeper than I thought it was, or is it in a different place? Hang on, because financials are there. And remember, to be in line with FFP, you can only lose 110 in a 3-year period. And 6 o'clock this morning, it might have been earlier than that. So let me see if I can find it. I'm looking in the wrong email. So let me check and see really quickly, because it was financials and I thought it was important to sit there and talk about really quick. And let me see, is it here? Okay, so it might be in this. Okay, so Albion publishing their annual accounts. Brighton's annual accounts 24-25. Club finished 8th. Accounts show an operating loss of £54.4 million before interest and taxation. So I guess this is EBITDA. Up to June 30 of 25, the end date, primarily due to player trading results, shifted from a profit of 68.1 to a loss of 25 million. Contributing factors included an increase in amortization of almost 40 million pounds as a result of additions into the playing squad from 24-25 of 210 million pounds. These accounts do not reflect major player sales last summer. Joao Pedro, Adingra, Enciso, and Estupiñán. Chairman Tony Bloom, quote, period covered by the accounts relates to the 24-25 season, reflects another year of progress on and off the pitch for the club. Another sentence he talks about Fabian Hertzler, talks about Dario Vidicic, and Tony Bloom continues with one other sentence. Full accounts, Tony paid tribute to the club's fans, thanks sponsors, all those kinds of things. So Brighton Hove Albion, operating loss of 54.4 after investing almost 200 in players. Sarah Wadelko from Vanderbilt signs with the Washington Spirit. So they continue to add folks as they get ready for the new season. So we'll keep an eye on what's going on with them going forward. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I might have missed working through. Oh, Sounder at Heart yesterday. If you missed our conversation with Nico Moreno, here's the details on the loan terms for Nikola Petkovic. It is Charlotte getting third-round picks in the 2027 Super Draft, up to $250,000 in conditional GAM in 27, and the Sounders' purchase option is a cash deal with the new intra-league option of anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million in cash. So that's the loan terms and the fine print for the Nikola Petkovic deal for Seattle as Nikola Petkovic goes from Charlotte and heads west. Petkovic was signed for Crown in 2023 on a $3 million transfer from Serbia's FK Kukaricki. He's going to count as a U22. He's going to occupy an international spot, made more than 30 appearances for Serbian youth national team, senior team cap as a 19-year-old. And then Craig Weibel had things positive to say. So 22 appearances after his first year with Crown Legacy. highlights goals against Portland and DC United. So Brian Schmetzer, and he also said positive things about Petkovic. Looking forward to having him up and under the umbrella for Seattle here in 2025. Now, let me check and see if there's any other stories that I might have missed. Once again, remember, you're going to have a new Soccer for US POD coming out after the show, and it will be Bart and it will be Thomas, and they're going to be checking anything and everything going on with the world of soccer. Where did I see it? I thought I saw it here. Oh, it's because you are looking on the wrong page. Your quick preview. It is for Soccer for US POD. Where is it? So Bart sent it. Now I can't find it. Oh, here it is. It is a 2026 New Year's resolutions for the men's national team, the women's national team, and the U.S. Soccer Federation. So it's Bart and Thomas, Soccer for US POD, episode 135, coming up a little later this morning. Also, it is also on the board. We saw, where was that one note that came across? It was, hang on just a second. Oh, Nashville. Nashville has loaned Isaiah Jones to Chattanooga FC. So it's the second move this week for Nashville SC. A loan is for the full season, right to terminate at any time. Homegrown player developing through Nashville SC's academy. 2 appearances for Nashville during 24, 43 appearances for Huntsville City Football Club since 23. So Isaiah Jones, who goes to Huntsville City Football Club since 23, now gets loaned out to their bitter rivals, Chattanooga FC, for the 25 season. So Nashville Soccer Club's second move for Chattanooga FC this week. Once remember, Ashton Gordon has been loaned by Atlanta United to Chattanooga FC, and now they're getting Isaiah Jones loaned to them from Nashville Soccer Club. So another move for Chattanooga FC this week. Second team in the Southeast and another midfielder. So that's another move for them going forward. Hang on, let me gotta clear my throat quickly, and I didn't want to do it on the air. Hang on. All right, let's see. So Lokeville, morning. Looks like Almada move again, still didn't get paid. Yep, that's the way it's looking. And full disclosure, I have DM'd John Texter basically every time that anything has come into that news sphere involving that particular case. And it is right now you are operating under a, tell you what, let's take a peek real quick. Let's see if there's any kind of newsy update involving Botafogo and their fine. Because right now, remember, they're under a trade embargo. They can't do anything until this is cleared up. And so, all right. So, if we look at the current state of affairs, I'm trying to see what the latest might be. If there's any latest news involving anything involving this whatsoever. So, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything involving this. But remember what we talked about earlier this morning. Palmeiras seems to be the leader in the clubhouse right now when it comes to picking up Thiago Almada from Atletico de Madrid. Herman Garcia Grova this morning, once again, after coming from Gaston Edul. Palmeiras seems to be the player that is at the front of the line when it comes to Thiago Almada at present. So literally Botafogo, Atletico de Madrid, and then back to Palmeiras. Wants to play closer to home and get more minutes than he's getting currently with Atletico de Madrid. Looking at Odia out of Brazil, Palmeiras has made a formal offer to sign Thiago Almada. Once again, playing 16 times, only 5 as a starter. Palmeiras' offer, 20 million euro for 50% of the pass. Teise was the one that came up with that information. So Palmeiras' offer at the front of the line, 20 million euro for 50% of the pass. Palmeiras is confident, according to Odia, of closing the deal in this window. Eye on the 26 World Cup, a return to Brazilian football scene is a good opportunity for Almada to regain prominence. In 24, wore the Botafogo jersey, key player in winning Brazilian Championship and Copa Libertadores. 3 goals, 2 assists in 26 games for the Glorioso. Afterwards goes to León, subsequently Atlético de Madrid. So Odia in Brazil is a part of their wire reports from their daily section called The Day. So right now, 20 million euro for 50% of the pass, and Palmeiras is at the front of the line. So that's what you're staring at now with Palmeiras making this offer. And I'm trying to see, okay, so everyone is rolling back to Gaston Edul, and Teise is saying 20 million euro for 50% of the pass. So yeah, he will have, if this goes through, he will have been transferred, technically León, Atletico de Madrid, and then Atletico de Madrid to Palmeiras. Yeah, so 2 transfers by the time Atlanta United still is waiting for a paycheck. So you got that this morning. And I know that there are a lot of folks who are less than pleased about that at all. So, yeah, David Moyes, extraordinary for a 3-match ban. We went through that. So, no, it's not extraordinary, frankly. So, the FA Cup, very, very busy this weekend, busy across the board over in Europe. We'll be back at it again on Monday, and we will break it all down for you there. Let me make one last pass and see if I've missed anything. Brazil and France are going to meet in an international friendly at Foxborough on March 26th. And so that is tickets are going to go on sale on that one in 4 days. So you're going to have those 2. And so now Inter Miami has come through, and they are now officially putting out the word that they have signed David Ayala, season-long contract. We mentioned the $2 million in cash, the intra-league cash, up to an additional $150,000 performance-based incentives, U22, midfield depth, under contract through the end of the 26 season. Developed in the Estudiantes youth system, professional debut 2019 at 17 years old. And then now it is officially shared the pitch from Estudiantes with recently signed defender Facundo Mora on 3 occasions, and then Mascherano during his final professional season as well. So final is now been announced by both parties. Ayala from Portland, $2 million in intra-league cash, no gam or anything, just straight up cash, homie. $150,000 performance-based incentives. Portland may retain a sell-on if he's transferred above a specific amount. U22 remaining under contract through the end of this year. And Danny Pereira has signed a contract extension through 28 with Austin FC. Deal guaranteed through 27-28 with an option year to follow there. So Austin is making their moves as well. So that is what we're staring at so far as we get you into a Friday, get you into a weekend, and get you out the door. Here in the Southeast, apparently the weather is going to be a little dicey. So what we would ask is that you be safe so we can all be back here on Monday. On Monday, it's going to be Abe and Bart. On Wednesday of next week, apparently we are going to have our high school extravaganza in hour number 1 for probably 20, 25 minutes and share information with coaches that are going to be attending the United Soccer Coaches element in Valdosta. And so Cody sent me these emails. All right, so to get in touch with Cody and Cody Case at Valdosta, if you know of a program or know of a coach that is interested in breaking bread with other coaches and sharing intel and information, I'm going to put Cody's email address here in the Twitch pitch. And yes, it is a gocats.org because that's how Valdosta is wired. So the boys' head coach at Valdosta is Cody Case. Reach out to him and to United Soccer Coaches, if you know anybody there, to show up and be a part of this first ever, that we think, clinic, get together, breaking of bread, sharing of information session on the field and off tomorrow in Valdosta. It's an all-day thing. So you can reach out to Cody at cody.case@gocats.org, and you can get the information and drop by and hopefully share intel. Wednesday, we're going to catch up with them. We're going to catch up with AC Boise. Monday should be Abe and Bart. We got Valdosta FC that we're going to have as a part of the discussion. KCD is going to be joining us at 9:15 on Tuesday, and we're efforting our guests as we go rolling forward. So that is another week of SDH AM. Thanks for all of you for hanging out with us as much as you do. And it's been a very, very busy week. So let me go over the guests that we had this week as we get you ready for the weekend here. Abe, Bart, Casey White. Then it was our friends at Rob Edwards at Morley Sports Management and Hamilton Academical. Chris Doran dropped by. Dylan dropped by. We got to find out what's going on with the Oceania Pro League with Robbie Cryem. And that was a fun interview. Nino and Nico yesterday. Cody Case, Michael Parkhurst, Phillip Goodrum today. So that's been the week here at SDH AM. And we'll be back at it again on Monday. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. Since it is the end of yet another week, you know we have to end it one way. Here it is. Mucho Plati, I'll play it safe. We'll catch up with you. Be safe this weekend because we want you back here Monday morning, 9:05.
The war was on. The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Oh, our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed